During the years between the two world wars, the Marines were confronted by a problem. Their mission as sea soldiers had become complicated by advances in weapons and fighting techniques. In the days of old, it had been simple to load Marines into longboats and row them to the beach. Now, tanks, big guns, bulldozers, trucks, quantities of fuel and ammunition had to be loaded along with the Marines. Also, greater numbers of troops had to be put ashore at once to mass the power to destroy beach defenses built and armed on the latest principles. So, the Marines evolved and wrote down the science of amphibious warfare, the modern attack against a modern beach defense. To put the new science into effect, they established the Fleet Marine Force, the new ready fighting arm of the Corps. Working closely with the Navy, the Marines rehearsed and perfected their amphibious technique. They scrambled down cargo nets hung over the sides of transports. They took their places in powered landing boats, which formed into waves or lines, and headed shoreward at planned intervals. Ashore, the Marines learned to jump from boats quickly and to fan out across the beach in the running assault. With the attack, they coordinated the support of gunfire and of planes flying from the Navy's carriers. The shore party was developed, and Marines who stacked supplies on the beach and channeled them inland. To carry the supplies, they used a machine called the alligator, both of steel and track chain clanking around and around on either side. It could move over solid land or plow through the sea and swamp. When World War II came, the work of the Marines during peacetime proved immensely valuable. To a great extent, World War II was to be a unique amphibious war. Landings would be made in Africa, Sicily, Italy, and France, and on Pacific islands that were held by the Japanese. Most of the landings would be made by the Army, which had been unable to concentrate on the amphibious specialty. So the Marines taught the Army what they had learned. On 7 December 1941, Japanese bombers snuck in over Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, and opened their war against the United States. U.S. planes and warships sighting idly on the airfields and in the harbor went up in inferno. The Japanese offensive struck all along the Pacific frontier, where small detachments of Marines garrisoning in the islands put up brave but useless resistance. Guam was overrun. Wake Island fell after a 16-day defense, which beat off one attack and forced the Japanese to reform their forces and land in strength. In the Philippines, a greater catastrophe was in the making. The worst defeat in U.S. ever suffered history. Outnumbered, the communications shattered, the Americans on Bataan surrendered to the Japanese. Other U.S. units under General Jonathan Wainwright made the last stand on Corregidor, a sun-blistered rock in the middle of Manila Bay. The island was a helpless target for the Japanese warships in the harbor, and the Japanese warships destroyed much on Bataan Peninsula. The 4th Marine Regiment, manning the beach defenses, saw its gun blown to pieces or buried under landslides as the Japanese shells exploded in the soil. The bombardment of Corregidor thundered on for one terrible month. Then, on the night of 5 May 1942, the Japanese landed, and the next day, General Wainwright's troops, dazed and confused, had no choice but to surrender. As always, stay safe, stay salty, Semper Fi, and carry on.